Well, I was out on a drive, on a bit of a trip, looking for thrills to get me some kicks. Now I want you ladies, I shoot from the hip. I was born with a stiff upper lip.
DC, bringing in the house. What's going on, everyone? Thank you for downloading the podcast More of the Same. This is the wrestling edition of More of the Same. You may remember it as Wrestle World, but we're here right now. We're here. I'm here. I'm the only one here. Sunday night, actually, the WWE Network is airing WrestleMania 1, which emanated from my hometown, New York City, from Madison Square Garden. And right now, it's the Intercontinental Championship match is about to start here. Greg the Hammer Valentine will be defending against the Junkyard Dog. And, of course, WrestleMania 1, March 31st, 1985. But it's 2016, and we're heading for WrestleMania 32 live from AT&T Stadium in Dallas, Texas. Over 100,000 members of the WWE Universe going to be going strong in Dallas for what will be quite an interesting show. And we're going to talk about that. Now, right now, we are a week removed, as of this audio recording, from the 29th Annual Royal Rumble. All right. And, a lot happened during the Royal Rumble. I mean, a lot happened. Let's just get right to it. I'm jumping into the thick of things. Triple H won the Royal Rumble, thus becoming, for the 14th time, the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. I was not expecting Triple H. I kind of forgot about Triple H. Now, him and Roman Reigns started a feud, if you will, which I figured would end up at WrestleMania, but not in a title match. I mean, nothing signed right now. We'll get into it in a few moments about how that could possibly come about. But, I mean, Triple H and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania would be good. But Triple H is now the champion, and he will be going to WrestleMania as the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. So, who will be his opponent? Well, we're going to get into that when we talk about Raw. But overall, with the Royal Rumble, the undercard I thought was fantastic. All the title match. I mean, every title was on the line as far as I can think of. Intercontinental title, Dean Ambrose and Kevin Owens put on a show in a last man standing match. Dean Ambrose walking out still the Intercontinental Champion. In a shocker, Kalisto regained the United States Championship from Alberto Del Rio. Becky Lynch and Charlotte showing what the women can do, what the NXT women can do on the big stage in WWE. Charlotte retaining the title, unfortunately with some help from Ric Flair, which the crowd was not happy about. Charlotte did not need that. She could have beaten Becky on her own, or at least maybe even a heel win on her own. But she didn't need the help of Ric Flair, but that's what happened. But then Sasha Banks made her return to Raw and put both divas on notice, especially Charlotte, that she's gunning for the Divas title. So I would love to see Sasha Banks win the Divas title at WrestleMania. First of all, to have the title just defended at WrestleMania, which it should be. But second of all, Sasha Banks against Charlotte is deserving of a WrestleMania match. Not the pre-show, WrestleMania. But we'll see about that. The New Day retained against the Usos. And like I said, Triple H winning the Royal Rumble. I felt the Rumble itself was a little sluggish. It wasn't quite fast-paced. I mean, there was some dry moments during the Rumble. Now, first of all, my biggest complaint of the Rumble is the fact that Roman Reigns was out of it for about 3/4 of the Rumble. The League of Nations comes down, beats him up. They take him out on a stretcher, and he's gone for most of the Rumble, which made me think that he may win the Rumble because I don't know why WWE's been doing that. Last few times in their Royal Rumbles or Battle Royals, the winner, whether face or heel, would be outside the ring for like half the match. It happened on NXT during the Divas, the women's #1 contender Battle Royal, which Carmella ended up winning. She's a face, but she was out of the ring for about half the match. And it just comes in at the end and eliminates Eva Marie. I don't get the reasoning, but I don't do the writing. But I just felt they could have done more as far as just action. There's just too many downtime, especially when they were paying attention on Roman Reigns. I mean, Kofi Kingston, again, had a moment in the Rumble. He was going to be eliminated, but ended up landing on Big E's shoulders because the New Day was out there ringside. And while doing this whole thing with Roman Reigns, Kofi was eliminated. He didn't even realize it till about 3 or 4 entrants later. But I'm not saying it was bad. I'm not saying it's the best Rumble on record, but it certainly wasn't the worst. Of course, the other big story of the Rumble was the phenomenal AJ Styles making his WWE return, if you're a historian, but I guess we'll call it his debut, because technically he was on Velocity last time he was there. But, AJ number 3, actually. Roman Reigns was in the ring, had already eliminated Rusev, so he was by himself. And, the music hit. No one knew. I mean, I don't know who was directing the Rumble. They should have had it focused on the Titantron because all you saw was Roman Reigns' face. And later on, they showed an alternate view of the Titantron, and it started I am. Then when it said phenomenal, that's when the place popped because you knew who it was. Probably one of the biggest reactions I heard on TV in a while. I don't know what it was like being there in Orlando, but definitely one of the biggest pops and longest pops and most deserving pops that I heard, again, in a while in the WWE. So AJ Styles, and here's where I mean by sluggish. AJ Styles, maybe it was Roman Reigns, I don't know. Maybe AJ's just trying to not show everything off just yet, but there'd be moments in between, like number 4, number 5 would come out, and then AJ and Roman would eliminate them, whoever they would be. But after they're eliminated, they just kind of stood there, like when the countdown was happening, just staring at the entranceway, waiting for the countdown. I didn't get that. AJ, he as more people came in, like when Kevin Owens hit the ring, I mean, him and AJ just went at it. Granted, Owens ended up eliminating AJ. AJ was in there for about a half hour, which is not bad at all. I wasn't thinking he should not have won. He didn't win, obviously. But his time in the Rumble wasn't bad for a half hour. But, I mean, just the ferocity. Is that the word? Ferocity? I don't even know if that's true. The right word. But how him and Owens went at each other, them two, Kevin Owens and AJ Styles at WrestleMania, I'll take that match. That would be phenomenal. But in any event. Now, how I would have booked the Rumble. Here's how I first of all, I picked Bray Wyatt to win. I'm sorry. How can I forget? The biggest member of the Rumble, Brock Lesnar. You want to talk about sluggish? When he hit the ring, he should have cleared the ring. I mean, absolutely clear the ring. And he didn't. By the time he hit, I think 3 of the Wyatts were in there. Jericho was in there. A couple of the guys were in there. I forgot who else was in there. Maybe Sami Zayn. But, like, Brock hit, and he just kind of didn't do it. He just toyed around with everybody. Just suplexing everyone, which, in a regular match is fine. I don't mind all the suplexes at that point. But he should have cleaned house. Or at least before the Wyatts made it there. Because the Wyatts jumped him on Raw the week prior. But before the Wyatts started, because here's how I would have booked it. And this is just me being me. So, take it for what it's worth. Whatever point in the Rumble, probably near the end. Large group in the ring, mostly smaller guys, like none of the Wyatts or anything. Brock Lesnar hits, comes out, just decimates everyone, just throws them out one at a time. I'm not saying give him the record for most eliminations, but just toss everyone out of the ring. Then start bringing the Wyatts. Bring Braun Strowman. They can be back-to-back at this point. Bring Braun, Eric, Luke. Just bring them all down. And then they all start to attack Brock Lesnar. And then Bray eventually comes out. All right, maybe space him out. But in any event, you get to when Bray comes out. And at some point, now again, I'm assuming Triple H is not in the Rumble. By this point, Roman Reigns eliminated from the Rumble. You know what? Let's take into consideration. Let's factor in that they booked where he got hurt and left the Rumble for a little while. So he makes his way back from the entrance, gets in the ring, starts trying to battle it out. But Bray, like he did for the second half of 2015, let Bray Wyatt eliminate Roman Reigns. That would have been perfect. Bitter justice. Bittersweet. And then the Wyatts take care of Brock Lesnar. And then all four of them just trounce their way to the end, where the last four guys in the ring are all four members of the Wyatts. And then the three big men just walk over the top and at the same time just drop to the floor, pretty much handing Bray the World Heavyweight Championship. That, I think, would have been a perfect ending for the Rumble, in my opinion. I think Bray Wyatt is certainly deserving of the title, and hopefully one day soon we'll get it. But that was the Rumble in a nutshell. Maybe not quite a nutshell. The next night on Raw was business as usual. AJ Styles' debut on Raw was against Y2J, Chris Jericho, which I thought was an excellent match, great match if you can go back and watch. The biggest news, though, was The Rock. The Rock returned to Raw last night. Very funny backstage segments. I don't want to give too much of it away, but one was with Lana, a very funny segment with the Big Show. And then he just made his way out into the arena. The fact that he has the WWE Universe in the palm of his hand is mind-blowing. The Rock just controls the crowd and controls WWE. So there were four guys. When in the beginning of Raw, you saw these 3 to 4 guys. 4 guys. Oh, 3 stood out. Dressed as Undertaker, Savage, Hogan. Another guy later on dressed as The Rock. They were sitting front row across from the camera. So, of course, they didn't want them on camera. So they brought him around to the other side, on the side of the camera so you can't see him off to the corner. So The Rock comes out, starts cutting a promo, and then the place started chanting Randy Savage. So The Rock, what is he going to do? The whole place is chanting Randy Savage for what looks like no reason whatsoever. So The Rock, and I quote, says, "This is the part of the show where we go off script." Exited the ring, went to the 4 guys in the crowd, and pretty much shut the universe down because he acknowledged it and had a really awesome interaction with the 4 guys. I mean, I'm sure it's a memory that these guys will never forget. Then went back in the ring and did his thing. New Day eventually came out to verbally go one-on-one with the Great One. Again, kind of not sluggish, but very odd interaction between The Rock and the New Day. It almost seemed like it wasn't going anywhere for a few moments. But then The Rock said, he's got his family. Usos came out, then the Usos and The Rock, all 3 of them, beat up the New Day. Now, The Rock has already tweeted saying that he will be at WrestleMania, but we don't know in what capacity. Do you think it would be a waste to have the New Day against the Usos and The Rock in a 6-man tag? With the heat that the New Day is getting, I'm going to say no. I think that would actually not be a problem. To see The Rock team up with the Usos, I think would be pretty cool. The only problem I would have is that would mean the tag titles would not be on the line. Unless they did put them on the line, and then, if The Rock pins someone, the Usos become tag champions. I wouldn't mind that match at WrestleMania, to be honest with you. Of course, a lot of people are saying maybe Rock, Triple H. Again, without the title on the line, yes, I 100% agree with it. But 2 part-timers, Triple H is a part-timer, let's face it. Going for the title at WrestleMania, it didn't work with Batista. It worked with Brock Lesnar, but I guess he's the exception. But I guess Rock is the exception, too. Is Triple H the exception? Would you call him the exception to the rule? I don't know. We're going to find out, because we are on the road to WrestleMania. We're about 62 days away. I'm about 58 days away from my vacation starting when I head down to WrestleMania. And I will broadcast from WrestleMania. Well, maybe not from WrestleMania, but I will be in Dallas. I'll broadcast from Dallas. I may even try and set something up there on the live Facebook feed during WrestleMania, maybe even during Access. Who knows? I'm trying to get Access tickets, VIP Access tickets. we'll see how that works out, because I'm sure that will fail miserably. And let's continue on, because NXT is going to have a big showing in Dallas. In fact, it's going to be NXT TakeOver Dallas will be April 1st, that Friday. And the biggest news that happened, and this was on WWE.com. Remember, this is a spoiler-free zone, but if it's on WWE.com, it's not a spoiler. It has been announced that Nakamura will be at NXT TakeOver Dallas. That is huge. The fact that they just got AJ Styles, now he went straight to the main roster, but Nakamura is going to go down to NXT, which I think is perfectly fine. I think he's got there's enough talent down there in NXT to hold him until he comes up to the big league, which I'm still apprehensive about not Triple H. Actually, I'm quite comfortable with Triple H in charge. But with Vince in charge, I'm just going to be, I'm afraid that Vince is going to water down AJ and water down Nakamura. We'll see about AJ. But be that as it may, no opponent has been announced, but his debut will be, Nakamura that is, will be at NXT TakeOver Dallas. Now, because of this, he was supposed to be at the 14th anniversary pay-per-view for Ring of Honor. He has since been canceled from that show. They're trying to replace him with someone, which we'll find out. We'll get into that, actually, in a little while. Also, not at an NXT taping, but at an NXT house show, making his debut, and this was out of nowhere, Austin Aries has signed with NXT. NXT is the brand. And not only because of the quality of athletes that they have down in NXT, the storylines, the quality of storylines that are down in NXT, the fact that Triple H is running it down in NXT, but I think that intimacy of a small crowd, in my opinion, is what mostly makes NXT. Now, you have the exception with NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, where that was in the Barclays Center. But I still like that intimacy at Full Sail and some of the smaller arenas, like they were at the what was it, SCC or SCC Arena for TakeOver London, small arena. I don't know the size of the arena that they're going to be in for Dallas. I do have my tickets for that one, or I will be getting them in the mail. But in any event, Austin Aries, just a walkout debut, wasn't in a match or anything, but he's signed. They're already selling his merch on WWEshop.com, so I'm going to be quite excited for his in-ring debut in NXT. Now, the night before the Rumble, actually the whole weekend of the Rumble, Evolve had 3 shows in Orlando. Evolve is an independent organization which I don't think has an official working relationship with WWE, but I feel like WWE is going to try and use them as like a farm league for NXT, and that's a good thing for both Evolve and NXT. Now, what I watched was the internet pay-per-view was the night before. I believe it was Evolve 53. Forgive me if I'm wrong on that one. They're doing a tournament. It was the semifinals of the Evolve Tag Team Tournament. And during the night, while I was watching the pay-per-view, the pay-per-view, through the Roku, actually, through the WWNlive.com, Triple H actually Instagrammed a photo of him backstage at Evolve. Now, Jordan and Gable and Regal were at Evolve. And if you watch the internet pay-per-view, there was a long intermission. I mean, I fell asleep during this intermission. But I think that's because Regal did an in-ring interview with the Evolve champion, Timothy Thatcher. And I think there was Matthew Riddle, I believe his name is. I don't know the whole roster of Evolve. I've only watched a couple of their shows, and so far, so good. And I think Triple H is just, I heard he was backstage, Evolve sent an email out about this, talking to a lot of the talent, maybe not necessarily signing anyone yet, but definitely talking to talent, and liked what he saw, apparently. And on this internet pay-per-view, Tommaso Ciampa, who is an NXT signed superstar, was involved in a match that night, I think the next night, too, because they had an event. This was held literally right across the street from where the Rumble was going to be held. And that Sunday, they actually had a special 2 p.m. start time, specifically so people could go to the Evolve show and then literally go right across the street to the Royal Rumble. So there is definitely a working relationship there, and I'm quite interested to see how it progresses. But Evolve You can watch them on the Roku app through the WWN Live channel. You can watch them also from WWNLive.com. And also Evolve, which is huge for Evolve, signed a deal with the Flips app. And you can actually watch their shows through the Flips app. Now, Flips, very cool app, FLIPPS, also I watched Wrestle Kingdom 9 through it. Ring of Honor has live pay-per-views through it. So does TNA. And what's cool about the Flips app is that you can watch it on your Apple TV, on your smart television, on almost anything without having to download a separate app for it. It just through the Wi-Fi, just links right up to the TV and just broadcasts around on television, which is big news on that one. So good for Evolve. Good luck with Evolve. And if you can, definitely catch an Evolve Internet pay-per-view because they got some good guys down there too, not just the homegrown Johnny Wrestling is down there. Drew Galloway's down there, and Pungy Vice was down there. Team Tremendous was down there in Evolve. So they do come to Queens. Actually, they'll be in Queens and New York in a couple of months. And I think they'll actually be down in Dallas as well during WrestleMania weekend. I mean, say what you want about it. Ring of Honor is going to be down there. Evolve is going to be down there. You know, where WrestleMania is, these guys know where the place to be is. That's also because there's going to be a hot crowds down there. Ring of Honor, like I mentioned, Nakamura is out of 14th anniversary, I'm assuming, due to his contractual obligations now with NXT. But the 14th annual main event has been signed for Ring of Honor. Jay Lethal will defend the ROH World Championship against Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly in a triple threat match. So that should be a good one. TNA, look, I don't want to see any organization fold, but I don't know what's going on over there in TNA. I mean, they had Bound for Glory in October. That Matt Hardy won the TNA title. Now, again, this is back in October. He won the TNA World Championship, and then the next night, I kind of missed most of the storyline, but he relinquished the title because EC3, who was the former champion, was going to sue TNA. I don't know how or why. So then they started doing this giant multi-month tournament that ran till January. So October, let's say November, like a 2-month tournament, all leading also coincides with their move to Pop. It was a live finals on Pop, and they had this whole giant tournament, round robin, and then single elimination. I mean, even they had the knockouts involved. And what was the finals? EC3 versus Matt Hardy. No, that doesn't make sense. And then EC3 wins it. That finals completely negated the whole reason to do the tournament, let alone EC3 winning it. And then a couple weeks later on TV, 24 hours in reality, because TNA still insists on taping months in advance. I can deal with a week or two, maybe even 3. But like months in advance? But whatever. Matt Hardy beats EC3, so now Matt Hardy is the champion. So all of this tournament, and in the end, Matt Hardy, again, wins the title. But now he's heel. So, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. You guys can make it whatever you want. But Michael Bennett and Maria, in a shocking move, during that live show on Pop, their debut, Michael Bennett and Maria Kanellis from Ring of Honor is now in TNA. Michael Bennett, the Miracle Michael Bennett, and Maria Kanellis. So that one came out of nowhere. I'm assuming their contractual obligations are done with Ring of Honor. Michael Bennett, not so much of a loss for ROH, but I think Maria will be. And but these places will move on. You also had just to bring you up to speed, this is where I left off with TNA. There was a Feast or Fired match just a couple weeks ago. And, of course, Feast or Fired is their version of Money in the Bank. But there's 4 briefcases. One briefcase is for a shot at the TNA World Tag Team Championship. One briefcase is for a shot at a King of the Mountain Championship, which I still don't understand. One briefcase is for a shot at the TNA World Championship. And one briefcase is a pink slip. So someone gets fired. So I'm not even going to waste time. Eli Drake won the King of the Mountain shot. James Storm won the tag team title. Oh, yeah, that was another one. James Storm debuting back in TNA after 2 huge matches in NXT. But, hey, listen, you're going to do what you're going to do. So, and James Storm is back with Bobby Roode. So Beer Money is back together. And Beer Money, of course, now has a shot at the TNA World Tag Team Championship. Drew Galloway has a shot now at the TNA World Championship. And it was Greedo who got the pink slip and was fired. And with that, I give you more of the same. Thank you very much for downloading. Remember, follow me everywhere. Twitter, Periscope, YouTube, please, especially YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all of it. Mohr 365, MOHR 365. Follow me. Maybe I'll follow you. And thank you for listening. That's all I have here is pretty much more of the same.
Stiff upper lip, like a down in hell.